All right, the day has finally come, and we see one of the biggest names, biggest games in the space, Illuvium, which actually went live today on all three of their premier game modes on the Epic Game Store. I have the pleasure of being joined by 𝗗𝗟𝗓 from Illuvium. We've had some awesome conversations in the past leading up to this moment, and I genuinely think this is a landmark moment for the crypto gaming space. One of the absolute OG names and games in the space has finally gone live, and the metrics are super impressive. The social proof is out there already. We're going to chat everything regarding Illuvium and their launch today. So without further ado, let's get in the game. And as always, guys, before we get started, drop down, hit that like button, and subscribe down below for more alpha across the crypto gaming sector and high quality conversations with people like 𝗗𝗟𝗓, one of the OGs in the crypto gaming space. Welcome, 𝗗𝗟𝗓.
Hey, Banta, how are you, man?
Yeah, doing good. Just excited to have you on. And I mean, what a day. First and foremost, big congrats on the launch. And I know that the people are loving it because I'm seeing the tweets coming out, and it seems like a lot of people are diving in. So big congrats.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a long time coming, nearly 4 years in the making. So it's kind of, I don't think it's hit me yet. Like my wife just came in, she's like, "How's it going?" And I'm like, "It's good, it's good." You know, like we've got users across all games, we've got streamers going live, we've got a lot of social proof with everyone posting about them loving the game, and it's all good, and revenue is starting to stream through. So couldn't be happier, really.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, late nights, early mornings, time zone difficulties with where you are, I'm sure, with the teams. So, just I know a lot of work went into this project, and it's not easy to build an experience like Illuvium. So, the first thing was congrats are in order. And for anyone who's living under a rock, I don't think we have to do this because Illuvium is such a well-known project, but just go over quickly, what is Illuvium, quick TLDR, and maybe intro yourself. I know you've been on the channel multiple times, but just for intro and professionalism's sake, if anyone hasn't heard of you or Illuvium.
No worries. So I'm one of the co-founders. I'm the CEO, and Illuvium is a gaming universe that we started building in 2020. And there are 3 games that you can go and play that are live on the Epic Store. Our first one is an industrial city builder game. It's available on mobile, so you can play more casually. And if you have a land plot for that game, you're able to generate fuel. And that fuel is what is required across all of our games in the ecosystem. And so passive income instrument. It's a fun game to play, to jump in. And then what you're seeing on the screen here is Overworld, which is probably our marquee game. And that's an open world RPG creature capture game, very similar to like a Pokemon. And there's 7 regions for you to go and explore. There's over 200 unique Illuvials for you to capture. And capturing them means being able to sell them on the marketplace. You can trade them, you can buy them, you upgrade your equipment. There's so much content for you to go immerse yourself in the overworld. And then our third game is a strategic auto battler game where you take the characters that you've captured in the overworld and you bring them into the arena, and you battle opponents in PvP modes, and more recently, Gauntlet, which is an 8-player battle royale all-in mode. And you put it all together with the blockchain elements on top. Obviously, all free to play. You can spend money to increase your to give yourself a bit of a better experience as you go throughout these games. But all of them you can dive into free. We set up the wallet for you. So we've abstracted all of the complexities of blockchain, and we're just bringing you fun, entertaining games.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And from previous, I've jumped in all three of these experiences before they went live. And knowing your team, I know that they're much more polished now. I've had such a good
Mm.
time in the arena. I've had such a good time in Overworld, and I'm excited. I haven't had the time yet. I've been on back to backs basically all afternoon, so I'm excited this evening to be able to jump into it. And it is on Epic Game Store, easy to download. You can go access that right now.
Yeah, yeah. We've tried to make it as accessible. Like when I first got into this space, it was extremely hard to play a game, right? Like, which it seems insane. Like, listen to what I'm saying. It's hard to play a game. Like, what? Like, why? And you needed wallets. You needed to spend thousands of dollars to get in there. And you know, there were all these different networks that you needed to go on. Now I feel like it's getting so much more streamlined. There's multiple different networks where the entire crypto side of things is removed and it sits in the background. We're using Immutable, which works really well for us. And it's just back to the basics of just playing cool, fun games and having the advantages of blockchain on top.
Yeah. I think the fully on-chain game stuff is cool, but there's a particular audience for that. And the audience is not really the target market for an experience like Illuvium. And really, I think going forward, like the AAA stuff that we see in the space is not going to be the experiences that are fully on-chain, but more so where they work on the back end, because when you hit a Web2 user with all the intricacies of a Web3 game up front, it's like, what the heck? I don't even want to do all this. So making it easy on the avenues too, like Epic Game Store, that people are used to downloading these games, I think it just makes it much easier. And as far as like day one, the economy wise, you mentioned how it's in the background. What can users go do? Trade their Illuvials, obviously, but where does the ILV token function into the ecosystem right now as far as like day one of the game?
Yeah, so that's the cool thing. So as a player, you don't need to worry about any of the nonsense of tokenomics or, you know, you don't even need to worry about NFTs if you don't want to. You can play just completely isolated from all of those things. But as you get more educated and you learn a little bit more about the ecosystem, you can start dabbling in that, selling your characters and your armor, any in-game items that you have, including cosmetics. You can go and sell and buy on our marketplace. And where it gets real, so that's for the player, but where it gets really, really interesting for the investor, and what a lot of people have been waiting for, is our distribution mechanism. So the ILV token, first thing it does is allow you to basically govern the protocol. So any new games that we build, any adjustments that we make, new marketplace features, all of these things are basically proposed by the community, and we help out as the team and try and guide it along and say like what's possible, what's not. But for the most part, this is a community-driven ecosystem that has all the decisions have been through the community. So that's the first thing that you can do with ILV. But the second, and probably the most exciting for investors, is all of the revenue that we're generating. And it's happening now across all three games. It's crazy to see that the ETH is starting to funnel through the games. All of that goes inside a vault, and periodically that vault will trigger. We'll buy ILV back off the market. So we swap the ETH for ILV, and then we distribute 100% of that back to people that are staked in the protocol. And so for anyone who's been sitting here waiting for Illuvium to go live for 4 years because you believed in this idea of decentralized distribution of profits, it's today. It's happening.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it has to feel good to see that revenue come through the door. And then those long-term stakers, yeah, that's what they're here for, right? They're here for the adoption of the game. And when they see those numbers coming through and all of a sudden those stakers are really being made whole, isn't the right word, because that sounds like they were done wrong. But in a way, just like it comes full circle, right? That conviction, it just pays off in a way that, go ahead.
it's a return on investment. You know, without them, we wouldn't be here, right? Like anyone who has purchased the token, we've raised nearly $100 million through, you know, various different activities, and it's them betting on us, saying, you know what, I think this ecosystem is going to generate revenue for the next 10, 15, 20 years. I want my small piece, and I'm going to get a return on that. So it's awesome, man. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I couldn't be more happy for you and the team, because I know how much has gone into the project. And where does the land plots fall into this? I think that's the one thing that wasn't hit on that. Where did the land plots fall into this, and then also in the economy?
So Illuvium 0 is free to play if you are not looking to generate any fuel. If you want to generate fuel, you need to buy a land plot. And so that was one of the instruments where we raised a bunch of money. We did a $72 million value of land. It was about $8 million in raw ETH that we generated. And basically what you can do as a Illuvium 0 holder is you build up your land plot and you're mining fuel. And then that fuel you sell to other players. And the cool thing there is there's a marketplace. And so right now, demand for fuel is actually outweighing how much can be generated, because those plots only just went live yesterday. It takes a while to get the production going. And there's obviously tens of thousands of people that are coming into the overworld wanting to travel and cure shards and capture Illuvials and all of that kind of stuff. So at some point, so these guys, they can sell the fuel at the highest price right now because the demand's there. But the cool thing is, let's say when things cool off in the next week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever, they will then start fighting over, well, I'm going to sell it a little bit cheaper because I want someone to buy my fuel versus your fuel. So I get my money instantly. So then you see this drop in the fuel price, which means effectively when someone is playing Overworld, they don't even know how these mechanics work, or they don't need to know. But going into a region, instead of it costing $1, it might be 50 cents. And then you're like, oh my God, it's super cheap to go into these regions. I'm going to stock up on a whole bunch of fuel now while it's cheap. And then the price starts going back up. And so you get this really cool economic game inside of the greater economy.
Yeah, I love that. And seemingly in Overworld, I see like the travel. So you can just hop between different regions and explore the different Illuvials. I know Illuvials are native to certain types of regions, if I remember correctly. So now you can just kind of jump through and be able to experience these different worlds. Can you just do that anytime you want? Or when you load in, do you have to spend a certain amount of time in the region you choose?
So there's a couple of things there. We built we're pretty proud of the tutorial that we built. One of the things that people were very confused, there's a lot of complexity, which we've simplified down over the last like 12 months. But initially when people went in, there was no tutorial. So they were like, what is going on here? Now we've got, it's about a 30 to 40 minute tutorial, which takes you through, shows you how you've just woken up from cryo sleep and you're like, what is going on? You're just disorientated. Takes you through. So you learn a bit about the lore. It teaches you how to move. It teaches you how to capture things, how to forge things. So you learn all about the region, but then, all about the overworld. But the cool thing there is only one region is open right now. And so all of the players collectively need to decipher a code, and that will unlock the next region and then the next region. And you do that by, there are some Illuvials that hold this code, and when you capture them, a random person will get a part of that code. Then everyone puts them together, and it all of a sudden unlocks another obelisk and new region is open.
Okay, awesome. I love that like gamification of it. That's definitely unique, because I was wondering like if you can just hop between it, there's almost no, it's like I wanted to see if there was something like that, a mechanism in place. So I definitely love that. And from what you guys are seeing right now, what are the most popular game modes? What's the feedback y'all are getting on each of the game modes? Because from what I'm seeing on Twitter, people are excited. They're already speculating. They're already catching these Illuvials, checking out the stats and everything. So what's like the most feedback and the game modes that are being played the most, all that stuff internally?
So Overworld is being played the most, which is it's not too crazy to think about. And the reason
no surprise.
Is there's a race to get the first Illuvials. Like right now, as far as I know, no one has caught like a bunch of tier 5s because it takes a while to build up to it. So and they're also serialized in a way where the first person to catch a Rampire is going to have #1 next to it, right? Which, like, imagine you have like the #1 Charizard card.
That's
in the
insane.
World, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous, right? And so while I'm kind of like not frustrated, that's the wrong word, but like I know that we've just released this gauntlet mode for Arena, and previously I was a big critic of Arena, and I was frustrated with how we went about it. It was only a 1v1 mode. I wanted it to be 8 players. We've now released that, but everyone is so focused on Overworld and getting in there and capturing as fast as possible. They're kind of like, well, Gauntlet's always going to be there, so we'll just play that once we're finished with, or once like Overworld has sort of died down. So I guess to distill that, Overworld is massively popular right now. There are a few streamers that we just had a guy that's got like 2,000 concurrent viewers on Twitch playing the Gauntlet game, which was really good to see. And then Illuvium Zero is firing because they're making money. You know, they need to generate that fuel. So everyone at home, like even me last night, I'm so dead tired. And my wife's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just playing Zero. I've got these plots. I need to make money. And she's like, it's just crazy what you're talking about. So kind of across the board, we're looking really good.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. Like I said, I've been seeing a bunch of these types of tweets, people just diving in. And you actually reminded me, I need to go activate like all of my land plots and like get in there. So that's my activity tonight, like I said. So I'm definitely jumping in, and I have to get those land plots absolutely clicking on all cylinders inside of the ecosystem. So yeah, I mean, after a few weeks of this, people are really going to be engaged. They're going to be stacking up these Illuvials. I've never asked you this question, and I'm shocked because I've always seen on the website, it says 150 plus Illuvials. Do you have an exact, how many Illuvials are there, like unique ones?
205 now.
205. And that, I assume, kind of like Pokemon, will keep expanding as the game goes on.
This is why people are rushing in, because at the end of a set, the overworld completely changes. So you'll never be able to capture these Illuvials ever again, right? Which, you think about that, let's go 10 years from now, and if our IP is successful and we end up expanding and there's new game modes, there's going to be people who are like 5 years old who will be 15, and they're going to start joining the game, and they're going to see these people with characters that they can't get unless they buy it on the marketplace. And that's where it ties into the scarcity of the assets. It keeps them rare, and which hopefully keeps their value. So instead of what we saw 3, 4, 5 years ago, where there was just inflation of assets, we go the other way, and we have burning mechanics in there. We have these sets that are complete, so you can never get them anymore. So you know there's going to be a finite number at some point, which you know, a lot of people are finding really, really attractive about our our economy.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and I know you guys have gone to the drawing board like crazy to make sure that this thing's going to be sustainable. And I've always wondered why people don't play into the scarcity in Web3, whereas that first iteration was the farthest thing from scarcity. Like the battle pass model works really well in traditional games because you can't get those season 1, season 2, et cetera, assets ever again. So this type of thing, that's just so natural to me. And I don't think enough games work in this type of way, or like in these waves of different assets, because these will be undoubtedly the most valuable assets in the ecosystem a year, 5 years down the line, as you're mentioning. So it does surprise me more games don't lean into this.
Well, we've got 85 artists on our team, right? Like, to create 205 3D Illuvials in the quality that we've gone with, it takes a monumental effort, right? Like, it's much easier to, and the problem with a game that's trying to do it that doesn't have diversity of the assets is people are like, well, why would I buy, you know, what's the set 2 going to do if they look exactly the same? You know, like, you've got to believe in this IP and be like, okay, that Ramfire, that's that a pterodactyl that's fire, it looks so awesome. Like, that legitimately will be the last time we see that at the end of this set. And then there's going to be something equally as awesome that comes next set, but it will never come again. Whereas if you have assets where you put a little doodle on it and it's got a little bit of curly hair and whatever, like whatever it is, they all look the same. No one's really buying into the idea that, like, well, the next one that, like, you can say it's like a set 1 or a, you know, zone 1 creature, and the next ones are going to be amazing, but it's kind of a hard sell, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No, this is IP, like 205 different characters. And I know from playing Arena quite a bit, all the animations of the characters, they're all unique. They all do different things. It's like their own personality, and you grow closer to that. Like a Pokemon type of model, just to make the easy example, you grow close to that type of stuff. Whereas, like you said, sure, someone could really be attached to their Bored Ape PFP, another easy example. But, like, you know, what attachment beyond using it as your profile picture do you get from that? There's just not much, right? So stuff like this, it's proven, it's the time shows that people flock to these types of IPs that they can just dig their teeth into. And overall, they're all it's gonna be so cool in like a month or two to see what are their favorite Illuvials, like the community, you know, like which one, there's going to be metas in the game, the layouts, where do you put characters, which characters do you deploy versus certain elements and stuff like that. It's really going to be awesome to see the maturity of that. So I think that's the fun of it. And it's so infant right now. Most people in the ecosystem, some of them have tested it out, right? But their majority are just getting access now for the first time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. Right? I think this will build over time, and like we're going to go out with a massive marketing campaign. We've got a ton of content creators. We've got the Alliance program, which went live today, which has got the where you can earn up to 17.5% for referring others. Very similar to what Fortnite does, except they pay out 5%. We pay up to 17.5%. And there's going to be a huge amount of marketing that we continue to do over the next 6 months. But the thing that I think, like the silver bullet that we have and the secret weapon that the blockchain gaming has, and why we've seen games in the past go absolutely viral, is word of mouth, right? Like when someone today is capturing an Illuvial that a whale is just sitting there waiting to pounce on, and they're going to sell that, and they're going to go to their friends and say, I'm playing this awesome game. It's like Pokemon, except I just caught something and I sold it for like $400. Like, what's going on? Like, they're at work and they're telling everyone while they're eating lunch, and they're like, what do you mean you played a game and you made $400? They're like, come look at this. Like, and it's a good game, you know what I mean? Like a really immersive game where they would used to play themselves, except you add that element and it piques their interest. Then they're like, I'm definitely checking this out. So like those network effects, I can't wait to see, which you can't replicate until it's real, and it's only just been real today. So I think things are going to snowball, hopefully.
Yeah, and this is one of those good examples too of incentivization in Web3. There's multiple ways that projects do it, right? Airdrops, different types of campaigns, etc. But like this, the 17.5%, three times the amount, like you said, that Fortnite pays out. While a lot of people just say, well, Web3 games just raise a lot of money, and what do they do with it? Well, that also that gives more leverage for the project to incentivize the people that dig their teeth into the ecosystem and the creators and just the everyday player, even because this isn't an exclusive program. Anyone can sign up for this, right?
You need 500 followers, so it's a very small bar to get over. But yeah, it's meant to be. If you can bring us in players, welcome to the ecosystem. We love you.
Yeah, no, that's what it's all about. Incentivization in Web3. And we're actually seeing it across a lot of business models, like TikTok Shop is exploding. The reason why is even the small creators or the mega creators can jump in, and there's an equal opportunity. It's a blue ocean of opportunity out there. And I think this type of stuff too just kind of speaks to that. And, you know, I have to say, and you know this, you know, as a builder in the space, as much work has been put in, today is only the beginning. What's next? You know, like obviously landmark day, but anything to look forward to? What's the next priorities for the team? And obviously there's going to be maybe some bugs and kinks to work out on these initial launches. But as today is probably the start of the official journey, what's around the corner for Illuvium?
So definitely giving a rest to the team, and we'll do that in a way where it's staggered. So bugs and polishing will happen, because there's definitely going to be some that are revealed over the next like week or so. So that first, get a well-earned rest for the core contributors, and then we come back and we've got a plan for all three games to have multiple new features. In Illuvium 0, there's going to be things where you're not just generating fuel, you can level up Illuvials for someone. So if you don't have a land plot, and let's say you want to play an arena and be competitive and, you know, battle for these large-scale tournament prizes, you leave your Illuvial with a dude on his land plot. He trains it up for you in a gym, gives it back to you, and then it's ready. It's more powerful when you go into the arena. So that's a cool feature that we're bringing to 0. In Overworld, we've got multiplayer coming. So it's not very social right now in the Overworld. That's going to change. Think like more like a EverQuest type, like World of Warcraft vibe, where you can go into a region with your friends. They bring in all their Illuvials, and you're battling like massive tank Illuvials and Leviathans and stuff like that. So that's coming. And then for Arena, we're majorly focusing on this gauntlet mode, the 8-player round robin. We'll be introducing a whole bunch of tournaments. We're doing one with Team Liquid later in the year, and really starting to focus. That one is way less about like payments and NFTs, and much more focused on getting mainstream to jump into the IP and say like, wow, this is a cool game. And then hopefully starting to say, well, I might try out this. I might buy a land plot. And so there's a huge amount of content coming through. We've still got a ton of runway, obviously, with revenue starting to come streaming in now. Everything is looking good. We are really, really well positioned to start taking things to the next level.
Yeah, I'm so excited to just see the ecosystem grow from here, because the economy is now clicking on all cylinders. The players are jumping in and loving it. Like I said, metas are going to be formed. People are be coming out with strategies. I just think right now is such an exciting time and for the Illuvium ecosystem, and I couldn't be more happy for you guys. I know a lot of work's went into this, and a lot of late nights and early mornings given your time zone. So people can jump in right now. Epic Game Store. Where do you want to push them to? Obviously, this is the place to go, Epic Game Store. But where can people jump in, get involved, join the Discord? I'm sure all the players are chatting about things that are working, things that aren't. So, anything I didn't mention that you wanna cover?
No, that's it. Just jumping in the Discord, and then you can go straight to the Epic Store, download it, and choose which game you want to start playing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I said, I finally have some free time this evening, and I will be jumping in, getting those land plots active, and exploring the overworld. I have to say that's where I'm going first.
Yeah.
And that multiplayer on overworld will be a game changer. I think that would be so sick. Like solo, it's fun enough, but man, you add the component of playing with your friends, like you said, battling like massive Illuvials. That's just going to be awesome. So I'm stoked for that. Kieran, I appreciate your time. I know it's early for you right now and a lot going on with the team, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
No worries. Happy to anytime, Banter. I really, really appreciate all the coverage that you've given us over the years. It helps massively. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. Always supporting good projects. And you guys have stuck through, you know, bull, bear, back to a little bit of a bull recently, and just kept your head in the ground. A lot of projects folded during these time periods, and you guys tripled down and, no pun intended, put out a AAA experience that you can now jump into, guys. So if y'all enjoyed the video, like the video down below, subscribe to the channel, and head over to the Epic Game Store. Jump in their Discord. I can tell you from the pre-experiences that I had jumped into, they were already so polished and so fun. I know that this full experience is as well. And that's what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of hours. So Kieran, thanks again. And we'll have to do this again as well whenever some of these game modes kind of get a little more, like you said, developed as far as some of the things that you just mentioned. And then, just cover more updates in the ecosystem in the future.
100%. Perfect. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Yeah, as always. Guys, like, subscribe, go check out Illuvium, and we'll see y'all on the next one. As always, play well, my friends.